Hi, brothers and sisters. It's Michelle, and I'm going to be reading from Jim Stevens' book today. And it's called 101 Proofs, Absolute Proofs for the Existence of God, for the Reality of God. Okay? So, can you imagine 101 different ones, scientifically proven, along with a lot of deep spiritual insight? That's sort of the personality of Jim Stevens. So, as you can see, there's just lots of beautiful pictures on the outside and on the inside as well. All right, so I am going to be reading the absolute proof for the existence of God. It's chapter 62. It's called Common Sense, something that everyone in my family thinks the other one needs much more of. Okay. All people have what is called common sense, to a greater or lesser degree, it seems. This is the ability to organize our experiences in life and our observations in a coherent understanding of how things work. This definition is from Wikipedia. Common sense is a basic ability to perceive, understand, and judge things, which is shared by, common to, nearly all people, and can be reasonably expected of nearly all people without any need for debate. A type of basic awareness and ability to judge which most people are expected to share naturally, even if they can't really explain why. So that's the Wikipedia's definition. Okay. You've probably heard the expression, that doesn't make sense. This is based on our ability to judge our environment and make rational order of it. This is a part of our intelligence. It can only exist because there is genuine order in the world around us and not chaos. There is a natural order of things, and there are universal laws and principles. Let's take a statement like rocks turned into people. Your reaction would probably be, that doesn't make any sense. Yet, that is a basic conclusion you would have to draw from so called scientific theories that don't include God. Atheists must necessarily believe that given billions of years, starting from rocks, eventually through purely chemical processes, then life accidentally started. Then came bacteria. And from bacteria, life kept getting more and more complicated until humans came about. Common sense pretty much would tell you that life didn't come from rocks, no matter how long you waited, even billions upon billions of years. If I tell you that there is absolutely nothing in a certain place, then suddenly, for no reason, there was a huge explosion. And after that, there were huge stars and planets everywhere. What would you say? That doesn't make any sense. Precisely. If there was nothing, then what was it that exploded? And why did it explode? At the same time as the Big Bang exploded and produced gigantic amounts of matter, it also produced universal laws of physics and chemistry. It also produced time and space. So, does that make any sense to you? How about this? There was a huge explosion. Then, after a while, tiny particles began to move closer together. What's causing them to move together? Eventually, they turned into rocks, which became huge, and they started to spin. And then they got hotter and hotter. So all of that doesn't make sense. And you're right. Our experience tells us that after an explosion, matter is far apart and does not come back together on its own. Well, unless you saw Terminator 3. Come on, Jim. Didn't you see Terminator 3? There are a lot of stars in the universe. At least 11 trillion for every person on Earth, starting from nothing. Nothing exploded and created huge amounts of dust, which then violated physical and chemical laws by coming together trillions upon trillions of times to make stars out of the dust. Sorry, this doesn't make sense. Where did the energy for that explosion come from? It was an extreme amount of energy, to be sure. We were taught in school that energy is neither created nor destroyed. It just changes forms. Does that make sense? Energy from no energy. By the way, scientists say that the Big Bang produced only the elements of hydrogen, helium, and maybe lithium in the first 10 seconds to 20 minutes. And somehow, those 2 or 3 elements eventually became all of the 100 plus other elements of the periodic table, all by themselves, in a process taking tens of thousands of years. So I'm having trouble, Jim says. This is not making sense. You've probably heard that scientists do not believe in spontaneous generation, which is the concept that life can spring up from non-life. Aristotle synthesized the concept, and it was believed for 2,000 years. So, atheists must necessarily believe in spontaneous generation. Clearly, there was no life at one time, and now there is. If it wasn't spontaneous generation, then where did it come from? Common sense is against spontaneous generation. Or how about the idea that if you take lots of different rocks and rain on them for a long time until you have soup, out of the soup comes life. The goo became you. This violates the principle that all particles in water become dispersed, not organized. Probably it violates many other laws as well. So, what if you zap the soup with a lightning bolt? Our common sense will tell us that the energy added from a lightning bolt creates more chaos, not complex order. Have you ever seen a tree that was hit by lightning? Adding energy creates an explosion, not life. And so Jim says here, please read proof number 41. And this talks about the first living cell. Okay. Do you believe that over a long, long time, everything got more complex all by itself? Does that make any sense to you? It doesn't to me. Over time, everything rusts, decays, or just ends up falling apart. Do you believe that adding energy in the form of sunlight will cause more complexity and organization, that doesn't make sense. Adding random energy actually hastens decay. Think about leaving your tools or car out in the yard for many years. What's going to happen? Are you going to get a BMW or a Lamborghini? Okay, let's read on. Only by adding energy plus adding intelligence can you create something better organized. Okay, that's how you're going to get your Lamborghini. Intelligent scientists trying for 40 years could not mutate a fruit fly into anything else but a fruit fly. Do you believe, if given enough time, that it could randomly happen without intelligence? It just doesn't make any sense. And Jim says, okay, check proof number 27, which talks about mutation, the truth about mutation. If I told you my house built itself over thousands and thousands of years, there was no creator, you would think I was mad. And it happened slowly and gradually, one small piece at a time. You didn't see what happened over thousands of years, and you're not a scientist, so how do you know that this is the truth? A house is not all that complicated, especially when compared to a human body. So maybe it could have happened. The odds are against it, but it could have happened. The house got there somehow, obviously, because it's there. I'm sorry, folks, no. It didn't just happen. Even billions of years is never enough time for my house or your house to build itself. It had to have had a creator. Here's my point, Jim says. I'm not denying that the Big Bang happened, but I am denying that it could have happened without God. Common sense will also tell you that every step of the way, from the Big Bang to us human beings, adding more and more complexity, going against the laws of chemistry and physics, would never have happened unless there is an outside force with intelligence acting on this system. Okay. Atheists might say we are really, really, really lucky to be here. We won the cosmic lottery by accident. We beat the odds. It was 1 in a million chance, but it happened. Let me ask you one final question for your common sense. If the odds are 1 in a million, actually millions times millions, that life came about accidentally, what is the explanation that accounts for the reverse odds? There seem to be just two choices here. Namely, A, life came about accidentally from materialistic causes, okay? Or B, it didn't. if the odds if the odds are 1 in a million that proposition A is correct, then obviously the odds are 999 999.999 in a billion that proposition B is correct. That proposition is that life was designed and came from an intelligent source. So that's common sense. Don't you think so? And that's the proof of God. Okay. So where I have these published, you have Jim's email address. You know, you can email him, express your ideas, what you think. Be free. That'll be great. Okay, so that was really great. Thank you so much, Jim. Appreciate it. Okay, take care, everybody. See you another time. Bye.